Saturday morning, Church of the Cross. I hope you're well as we move into this Easter weekend. We are right now between Good Friday and Easter morning, but praise God, Sunday's coming. It's totally appropriate of the message I share with you this morning because I think it encapsulates exactly what it means as a Christian to walk through in our lives of having times where we feel like it's on Good Friday, and yet we know that Easter is coming. This past year, all of us experienced, not just us here locally, but really around the world, the whole impact of COVID, what it's meant for our lives, loss of income, loss of life, loss of everything in between. It's especially been true of our family. As many of you know, last year, this past August, I lost my father. Part of the reason we lost him was because of COVID. So I know full well the impact of what that means. Yet I also know that even through loss, it can give birth to something greater, give birth to really bring about resurrection. This has especially happened this past week, as last year when everything began to happen with COVID, and much of our community, much of our society was driven inside. We could no longer meet with one another as we normally would. This severely limited activities with children and what we could do. And so one of the things our family did was find out creative ways we could do things together. And one of the things that my oldest children did, particularly my oldest sons, Sam and Willie, began to teach our youngest children, at that time our 10-year-old Josiah and our 5-year-old Fielding, about how to play chess. I barely know how to play. I mean, a novice would be generous for me, but they knew how to play. And what became very apparent to us very early on was that both of them had a very, very sharp mind for it. Both of them did. But our 5-year-old, who's now 6, had a real mind for it. And so this past, during the last couple of months, they have been part of the chess club here at Cross School. And so when the South Carolina Private School Association, SCISA, had their chess tournament this past week, we had to get special permission to see if our kindergartner, Fielding, could play in it, because normally it's just elementary, up to 6th or 7th grade, and we didn't know if he'd even be allowed to play, so we had to get special permission, and they decided to allow the 6-year-old to come and play. And then what you know it, that he would go there up to Manning a few days ago, and our little 6-year-old Fielding won the entire tournament. It was such a huge blessing to all of us to watch it happen. And our 11-year-old Josiah got 4th place, but between the two of them, got 3rd place for Cross School. And it was just enormously rewarding as my wife, Lisa, and my son, William, drove up from Charleston to watch him win this award. The trophy was about as big as he was, coming up on stage there. And as he came forward to receive it, and just the excitement he felt, and how not only that, but during the day as he was playing game after game, he went undefeated. Each time he won a game, Lisa would contact his teacher at Cross, Sarah Epperson, and let her know. And each time he won a game, his entire kindergartner class would cheer and yell and with great enthusiasm. And he came back last night, both of them did, with this big trophy, and it was enormously exciting to watch this happen. And on a grander scale, I think it represents really the story of our lives, that there are seasons and times where we experience great loss, and we don't know how we're going to recover. And yet I know, on a much lower scale, but I know true that it gives birth to something greater so often, and it brings about resurrection. And we saw that in this case, that COVID, depending on how we looked at it, it took a lot of things away from us, but it also gave birth to things that we could never even possibly imagine. Who would have ever guessed a 6-year-old could go and win a chess tournament? And I don't know if this ever would have happened if it wasn't for this past year, if he would have ever even taken up that game. Who knows, maybe he would have, but I don't know. But I do know this, that what it seems like we may have impossible loss can give birth to something greater. And I want you to remember that as we are in this Easter weekend, Good Friday behind us, praise God, Sunday's coming. I will see you guys tomorrow. All our services are booked entirely. Every seat's taken, which is enormously exciting. I know some of you maybe miss out, but you can tune in online, watching our chapel service here or our Buckwalter service at 10:30. Both of them will be online, but I look forward to seeing you. I love you guys, and praise God for the resurrection. I'll see you soon.